The first thing we're gonna address is something we call sequence of returns risk. What sequence of returns risk really means is, we don't know if we're going to retire in a good market or a rough market, right?
Yeah.
And so sequence of returns addresses the idea that when folks decide to retire and they pull the trigger on that, they don't know if they're going to be looking at markets that are going up or markets that are going down. And if you take significant losses to your portfolio in the first, say, 5 years of retirement, then what that does is that can devastate the back end of your retirement. And really, you have less money to earn interest on and to grow. So, to give you an idea of what we mean is, think of it this way. If you have money, all of your portfolio is invested in the market, and you are depending on drawing income off of that portfolio, and so you're pulling income from that portfolio, and simultaneously the market takes a significant correction like it did back in 08, 09, where people lost 38% or more of their portfolio very, very quickly, then what that does is it gives you now 38% less money to work with. And not only that, but you're having to continue to draw that income off of those investments that are in the market, which is kind of the double whammy, right?
Yeah.
And that really, really can impact the back end of your retirement and make you run out of money a lot faster than you normally would have, right? So what we want to do is, what we would recommend and how we're going to structure things at ClearPath is, we are going to structure it where you are taking income in that first 5 years of retirement from a source that is not going to fluctuate very much, right? So that could be a lot of things, and we're not going to get into too much detail on that, but just understand that if you have that money for the first 5 years of retirement invested in a very, very safe portfolio, maybe treasuries, maybe things that are not going to fluctuate with the market very much or can't lose principal, and you are able to take money, the income that you need from that stable source, then you're not going to be so driven by fear if the market starts to make a major correction. Because what happens is, if you are pulling money from accounts that are invested in the market and they are taking significant losses, you're going to make bad decisions out of fear.
You will. And this is the biggest adjustment that we see is you have to shift your whole mindset. In the accumulation years, in the early years of investing, when you've got your retirement account, and that's a significant asset, and you're contributing to that each month, and your employer's contributing, you're getting a match, you're not able to touch that account, so you're 59 and a half. So, when there's fluctuation in the market, it may affect your overall day-to-day living a little bit with inflation, but you're not concerned about the investments as much generally. But when you step into retirement, this sequence of returns risk is first introduced. And it's really a big mental shift that you have to understand is, again, when you're in that early phase, you're just continuing to contribute, continuing to grow. If it fluctuates, it's okay. But that's the hardest shift. And having the peace of mind, whether this is something you understand at a high level or not, having the peace of mind knowing that, okay, anything that happens in the next few years, the money that I'm using, the money that we're living, that we're paying the mortgage, that we're paying the food, that we're taking the trips, that we're living off of in those years of retirement is coming from a stable source. It opens up so much just freedom and flexibility to really enjoy retirement, because you didn't work 30, 35 years to spend the first 3 years watching the market, right? That's not what retirement is.
That's not retirement.
No.
I can tell you that when we see that case, we see people who are stressed. We see people who are, watching checking their account balances every day, and just, so on pins and needles about what is the market doing today. And I can tell you that is not the way you want to live your retirement. We are definitely able to, through good planning, we're able to alleviate that stress. We're able to help you understand these concepts that we're explaining to you and get you to a place where you can go do the things you wanted to do in retirement. You can go, play with the grandkids and take those trips and do all of the things that you had, the dreams you had for retirement, and not be so focused on checking your account balances every day. And, again, that's no way to live in retirement. We have a very set process on how to do this stuff. And if you think that, going through a process with our team and having us look at the big picture for you, having us to lay out a real plan that's going to alleviate that stress for you, go to clearpathretirement.com. Click on the Get Started button now. Let's get an appointment set up. Let's sit down and just have a conversation.
Yeah.